Welcome to Skye Sweaty Record Review, episode 67. It's the only new music review show hosted by a French professor immediately after getting off the elliptical at the YMCA. Well, I have a policy on the show of not reviewing albums that I think I'm not going to like. So I was really hesitant to review the new Weezer album, called the Teal album. For many reasons that I'll get to. The main one is, the lead single was the song Africa, a cover of the song Africa by Toto. And I just hate that song in all forms. I hate that song in all forms. I don't know, it's not funny to me. It's not ironically funny. It's just a bad song. Okay, but I gave it a chance, and I had to listen. And so I'm going to review it. I am going to review Weezer's Teal album. But first, I'm going to talk about a movie. In 1998, Gus Van Sant released a movie called Psycho. And this was a remake of Alfred Hitchcock's movie Psycho from 1960. The thing about this remake is it wasn't really a remake. It was a shot-for-shot remake. Every single second of that movie, every single cut, every single plot point, everything, every camera angle was an exact copy of Hitchcock's original. Now, at the time when I saw it, I remember the critical response. It was like, boo, unoriginal, this is the death of art. But I'm like, what's wrong with you people? Who has ever done this? Who has ever done such a crazy, improbable thing as a shot-for-shot remake of a movie that was already wildly popular and highly accessible? All that he did, really, was shoot it in color with some new actors. So swap out Anthony Perkins for Vince Vaughn, swap out Janet Leigh for Anne Heche, and there you go. And we had this remake, and no one really knew what to do with it. It was too clever, I think, for its own good, because people can accept remakes or they can reject them, but a shot-for-shot remake, it just left people cold. And I would say it left them cold in an artistic way. Which brings us to the Teal album by Weezer. If you don't know by now, it is an album of cover songs, entirely cover songs. And when I was in high school, I looked up to my older brother Ward. I still do. And he's a musician. And his band, Small Town No Airport, they used to do a lot of covers. And I'm like, you should record all these covers. These are awesome. You do Pink Cadillac by The Clash or Moonlight Mile by the Stones. I was like, you should record these on your albums. And he said, Skye, never release a cover of a song if you don't change it. Unless you make it your own, you can only play it live. Never release it on an album. It appears as though the Ward rule has been completely broken by Weezer. For the most part, these are, like Gus Van Sant did with Hitchcock, note-for-note covers. The only difference is that it's got Rivers Cuomo's voice. That's it. The instrumentation is almost always the same. There's no change to the atmosphere of the song, no change to anything, really. The only exceptions are Happy Together, which they turn into a Weezer song through the usage of some good harmonies and guitars. And the last track, Stand By Me, which they updated to make it sound more like Weezer. But for the most part, they're not trying to do anything new. And I think they're not trying to do anything new in an artistic way. I'm giving them the benefit of the benefit of the doubt. Sometimes I read a note, so this is my note sheet. Sometimes I read a word on there and then I say that. So the next line on my story beats here is 80s Love. This appears to be an album mostly about songs from the 80s. And there's something intentionally artless about this album. Because it's not like they're finding the deep cuts by Tears for Fears, oh, you guys don't know this. You think they're just their hits, but they're actually really deep and awesome. No, they just do Everybody Wants to Rule the World, their number one song. They don't do the B-side to Take On Me by a-ha. They just do Take On Me. Up and down, every single one of these tracks is a huge hit. And again, I think it's intentional. It's like this weird sort of pop jukebox. I don't know much about Weezer. One thing I know is that Rivers Cuomo fancies himself a scholar of pop, that he likes to study what makes a pop song popular and what it doesn't. And you know what else he is? He's a thief. I'm sorry, but I have to tell this, okay? My friend Amy in high school, her mom was River Cuomo's piano teacher, and the dude straight up did not pay her. Just took the lessons and never cut her a check. So I guess I have a small grudge against Rivers Cuomo. Come on, dude. I mean, robbing a piano teacher? Not cool, whichever one of you is Rivers Cuomo. I don't know. So, he's this pop scholar who thinks about what makes a song popular. So I think part of what he's doing here, or what Weezer's doing, is making something that really highlights how great these songs are, how perfect they are. And ultimately, much like Gus Van Sant's Psycho, it left me kind of cold. Like, I was just sort of like, all right, neat. You did this idea, you performed these songs, you did a great job of capturing what made them great. You added your voice on it. On a couple instances, you made it a little bit yours. But I think it's an artistic choice to leave me cold. The one exception I would make, the one song that I think absolutely had to be made, and I'm very happy it was, is the song No Scrubs. That's actually going to get my stamp. I didn't think this album was going to get a stamp, but it does. It's a cover of the song by TLC, and this is a case of where I think they are doing something important. No Scrubs was popular when Weezer was popular, right? Like when Weezer first came out, it was like on the pop, Weezer was on the rock stations and No Scrubs was on the pop stations. But like, it's so clear what a great song No Scrubs is. It's really well constructed. It's got great parts, great melodies, interesting lyrics. And the way that Weezer does it, just because they don't have the electronic instruments, they do change it. Like just by the fact they're playing it with guitars. And they do bring out what's great in that song, which a great cover can do. And which I don't think this album is trying to do. I don't think it's trying to make you reconsider these songs. It's just trying to make you hear them again with a different voice. Okay, as a final note about this, like I know a lot of Weezer fans, like super fans. I stopped listening to Weezer when my buddy Ben would not stop listening to this damn album. We'd play Mortal Kombat 3 at my house, and like he just wouldn't stop playing the Blue Album on CD. My name is Jonas. I recognize it as great music, but I burned out on the Blue Album, and I've never forgiven them for burning out. I'm sure they're great. Everyone tells me, oh, really should check out Pinkerton. It's great. I don't know. I know there's this whole other thing where they've gone super pop, and a lot of their fans have abandoned them. I applaud that. I applaud any popular band that pisses off their fans out of some kind of artistic vision. I like that they write songs with Panic at the Disco, because it turns out I'm a Panic at the Disco fan. I understand that the color of the album is teal, and they're all dressed in kind of douchey 80s clothing, and it's supposed to be a playoff on this, kind of self-aware, like we're selling out, and we know we're selling out, and aren't we so clever? But I'm not interested in any of that mythology. Any of you Weezer heads, or whatever you call yourselves, I'm sure this album has a whole other meaning. I'm just studying it for what it is. And what it is Weezer's Psycho cover. All right. Until next time, where I'm going to review something really different. Really different. I just listened to it a little bit. It's by someone called Sneaks. It's like super, like psychotic, like psycho, sexual, hypnotic, hip-hop, trap, electro, punk. It's going to be very different. So look forward to that. I should be dropping that tomorrow. And until then, there's the camera.